Welcome to the Enterprise Decision Management Screencast. I'm Chris Wise, software engineer at Applied Engineering and Information Technology Group. This screencast discusses the concept of enterprise decision management and also includes a sample application built on open source software. The screencast should be posted on my blog at harborsite.blogspot.com. If you'd like to know more about the concepts or point out any errors, make constructive comments, please contact me through the blog. Applied Engineering and Information Technology Group is a software consultancy in Charleston, South Carolina. The details are available on the website www.aeitg.com. The agenda covers the aspects of EDM in the screencast and one possible implementation. This is a 1,000-foot view, although hopefully it's been designed to be useful enough for understanding, planning, EDM, target audience, business analysts, engineers, anyone interested in EDM should be able to find this information helpful. The overview, let's take a minute to discuss the core concepts that make up the definition of EDM as I use it within the context of the screencast. Rules, drools, decisions, enterprise service. What is a rule? Concept of a rule seems pretty intuitive to most adults, or so we would hope. Webster's definitions offers two variations I found useful. One, a prescribed guide for conduct or action, and the second, a regulating principle. So, two examples of rules. Slower traffic, keep right. It's a good one. Or, in the game of chess, if a player touches his chess piece, he's committed to that move if it can be legally moved. That's actually implicitly including more rules because the movements of a chess piece are subject to constraints. Business rules are meant to express what a business can do. Formally, they are described as statements that define or constrain aspects of the business. Conceptual context of a business rule. Suppliers from the U.S. must invoice our company electronically. At the conceptual level, business rules could be driven by regulations, competition, internal forces such as change in the business direction or new focus areas. The semantics for rules themselves and rules for rules, a little outside of the scope of the screencast. OMG, as part of its catalog of business modeling and management specifications, includes the semantics of business vocabulary and business rules, somewhere down here. The SBVR, as it's commonly referred to. Here we go. It's a meta model for vocabularies and rules that you would use to create your own semantic model. I recommend the OMG website as a terrific starting point for understanding rules, business processes, and beginning to lay down the groundwork for implementing this in your own business. Some more about rules. Where do rules come from? Rules can come from the business analysts that you have, subject matter experts in a certain area of the business, C-level executives, regulations, policies, regulatory bodies outside of the company, such as government, historical information that you've compiled, and other applications running inside the business. Rules. Our concept rule was declared as suppliers from the U.S. must use an electronic invoice. So how do we implement that? Well, although rules would not be considered a core concept of EDM, but an implementation of a core concept, which is implementation. Implementation. How do we create automated rules from concepts? Rules in its entirety is far outside of the scope of the screencast. Essentially, we use it to generate rules, apply design patterns for connecting rules to systems, and maintaining rule governance, all done using rules, and shown in the screencast, and we'll talk about that quite a bit more. Here we have the implementation of a rule written in drools. I'm actually going to read the bottom part of the page here so that you can get a flavor for what the rule is attempting to accomplish. When there's at least one broken car in the inventory or wherever, and the car has a repair ID, and the car repair status is 0, then set car repair status to repair ID 1 and update this car. Now the same rule is what's written above, but in a programmatic fashion. So one of the powers of having drools and a rule engine in general is so that business users and subject matter experts and non-programmers can actually write rules and distribute rules throughout the system. People who don't have to have a knowledge of a programming language or a background in understanding how programming languages work. The domain-specific rule that I read out loud was fairly straightforward and really only requires that you know something about the process of how to handle a broken car. Decisions. We all make decisions. How do we do it? If I'm deciding something like when to go to the store, or if I need to go to the store, I might evaluate the conditions that I'm in currently at the house with the amount of food that I have, or what my schedule is like right now. When are stores open that I want to go to, or when are they closed? So if we take a closer look at what I just described, we'll find that I'm actually applying the output from multiple rules to determine if and when I should go to the store, when the conditions for going to the store might be the best. First rule might be when my food supply is out or low, I should probably go to the store. And if that's true, then is my schedule open for at least a couple hours? Then I should go to the store, or I could go to the store. And if conditions 1 and 2 are both true, then I have to make sure the store is open and know the hours for the store, and then I should definitely go to the store because everything that I've just asked myself has come back and said, yeah, the conditions are right for going to the store. So it's actually a multi-rule set that I've created there, and I would probably put that in the rule engine as a flow. But really, to get the most out of rules, designing them more atomically and then orchestrating them together to form the decision model would probably be best. So when my food supply is out or low, could be like a true-false return. If my schedule is open for at least 2 hours, true or false return. And is the store open or closed? Is the store open? True or false return. And that all could be in my when condition before my then condition kicks in and says, hey, probably should go to the store. Decisions support business processes. They support events within processes, and they're typically made after evaluating multiple rules. So rules enable or power decisions. Enterprise services. So if we think about it, actually, decisions as services is a great fit. Why? Well, the business process and decision decoupling is already implicit, and I'll explain that. My decision on whether or not to go to the store had nothing to do with how I will get to the store or what I'll do once I get in the store. The process of getting to the store, I could describe that as how I get in my car and drive. That's unlikely to change. Whereas the decision, the criteria for when I should go to the store, will probably change often. Maybe I'm having guests, or maybe I just didn't get paid for a couple weeks and I can't afford to go to the store. So who knows? The decision on whether or not to go to the store decoupled from the process itself or linked to another process. Maybe I'll order something out instead of going to the store. So the statelessness of decisions is already implicit in a decision. So making a service stateless ideal is already kind of done for you. And you don't have to worry about changing the process. Nothing is going to affect how I would have normally gotten to the store or how I will get to the store based on my decision to go to the store. One thing that I will point out, though, as we start to move decisions outside of the processes to decouple them physically, is that the services be made highly available. One of the pitfalls and complaints that you'll often hear when people talk about enterprise decision management and services is that the speed, the slowness. While decision engines are relatively fast, very fast, in fact, some of them, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the implementation phase, having the service not available pretty much brings you to a standstill when your processes are waiting on a go or a no-go, or to be pointed to another phase of the process. I guess I'd also like to point out the auditability of an enterprise service. Since the decisions are being made external to the business processes themselves, all the decisions going through an enterprise decision service are very visible. We can see very quickly what decisions were made for every process. And so auditability, is that a word? Auditability. Being auditable in this manner would seem to be easier. Now, when I worked in finance, I didn't have this advantage. I had to go into every process or system and pull audit files together, then compile them all in a central location, and then cross-correlate them to try to determine, at what point were decisions made from one system to another within themselves that led to the follow-on conditions. It was not easy to do. That's the end of part one. In part two, I'll discuss the business case for the demo application, very simple demo application, and then we'll go do a component walkthrough there. Thank you.